How are you feeling?
I mean, there's a little bit of fire coming through earlier this morning. It's still early. I think it's afternoon-ish. You know what I mean? We get in there. It's kind of... It's still a bit early. But shout out to all you guys in the crowd. Nice and early. Appreciate you guys. You turned up.
Bit of noise.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I've been to London. I've been to Play. I've been around the world. And you guys have been quite rowdy to start off the day with. So, you know, good job. Hopefully there's a bar. So maybe you can get some liquid courage to get nice and loud throughout today. However, that aside, we do have the first plane in the air. If you're new to PUBG, we can explain all this to you. It's very simple. There are teams, they want to win. It's the last team standing. Very simple. The blue moves them into a certain location. They pick up the guns, they get the loot, they kill the others. Nice and easy. Now, this of course isn't day one. We already have the teams currently leading on the scoreboard, but that can change. Everything is still very much up for grabs. And we've got a nice little playing route coming through here, Rich.
Yep, pretty decent to kick off day number 2. We start the yellows on the east coast and we go perpendicular all the way across, just teetering more towards the southern end of Erangel, and we end smack bang over Faze's hometown, Milton Power. A couple of things we need to touch on what the desk mentioned. I do like these 2 points. One, we look towards Rogue. They keep going towards the Millie Island, Millie base, because we know that's home territory for them. We know they loot there, they play there in scrims, they're tried, they're tested. But, who's going to... Okay, I just want to pause for a second. Who's going to try and run him over? Now, how ironic would it be if he actually got the AKM?
It's the classic, right?
You mentioned this.
It's always a classic. You know
how
how
it
it
feels.
feels.
On the table. There is one on the table.
Sigsy. Oh god, this is horrific. Just get out of there, Sigsy. It's done. It's over. We didn't see it. Just
Never
move
mind.
on.
Pick him up and crack on. But do you keep playing the circles on Millie Island? Do you keep hoping maybe you get one over there? You're kind of playing the percentage game. All right, we go here. We've got so much percentage that we might get one. Or do you go to look somewhere else? Yesterday, they actually got camped out. They got bridge camped. Someone eliminated them in 20th place. I mean, these guys, currently Rogue, they have 2 wins under the belt. But they're not at the top of the tables. Fair play. Liquid do have 3. But you would expect them to be a hell of a lot higher than they are with 2 wins.
You would. But this is what you can expect from this level of competition. I think we're all getting used to it now that, you know, we say the classic. I like to always quote Sir Scoots. It's not his quote, but he always used to say it, so I run with it any given Sunday. And it's not Sunday yet, but, you know, things can change. And we'll see if that's the case here. I mean, this is always the fun one, isn't it, is who turns up on day 2. This isn't that... I don't know, this is the one thing I love about PUBG. It's a little different to other games. Normally, you'll see a bit of a trend to a degree. You'll see a team who does well on day 1, do well on day 2 and 3, and normally that's somewhat of the case, but there's certain teams who do have that swing performance. You'll get teams who turn up on day 2 because they do their research, and when we say that, we essentially mean that they literally go over the replays of yesterday's games, and they'll do their research, they'll do their analysis, they'll go, okay, so when we went for this, it didn't work so well, how can we adjust that? They theorize, they craft. A lot of these teams, the bigger names, bear in mind, will have coaches doing this as well. So they'll be in the background, you know, keeping tabs on, maybe this could have been done better. And I love that coming into day 2. We see the response of it. We'll see that maybe in action. This could all be completely wrong because the teams who we might expect doing that could just completely disintegrate. I'm looking at Alliance. I want to see better from them. They're a big team. They're a big name. And they've got some very powerful players who were not there yesterday.
You've hit the nail on the head. Alliance is a team that can absolutely go off at any given moment. T-Bo, I think between us we do have conversations about T-Bo and the fact that he's been an amazing addition to Alliance. And it's nice to see a UK roster, right, in the whole bigger scheme of esports.
You love a bit of bias.
Yeah, it's nice to actually see a UK team coming out of the woodworks. Yeah. UK has a lot of really good individual talent for PUBG. I have started to see this, but then it kind of rolls back to the olden days, you know, COD 4 and various other bits and bats, the old school bad boy games. There are a lot of...
We were once great.
Once
we are
great.
Rebuilding.
Hey, there's some decent talent out there, and I think we could see
this
that
could be the game.
Get promoted a lot more going forward at PUBG. I think while we were having this conversation, I did see one player go down. Didn't quite catch the name. I think it was somebody from Blank.
Method are under a little bit of fire too. They're being quite curious about this. The 2-2 split. They're being very greedy with Pachinki. I don't like Pachinki for a 4-man team. I never have, I never will. I hate it when it's contested. I think it's useless. Now, I like the way the Method is split early. Now, whether it be for early rotations, like we saw Avenger discussing on the desk, essentially they want early position. They'll take the gamble on having lesser gear just to get position. Now, you're going to see maybe a little bit of that. You could see Aitzy and co kind of joining them from Pachinki later with far better gear, but the other two will have prime position. So it's a nice way to do things. I think it's not uncommon to see Method be quick on this, but I think this could be a bit of an issue, because look who's waiting Blank. And Amy Dolly fighting against these guys showed from real prowess yesterday. They showed some power.
Yeah, just to confirm it is NBS as well. Unfortunately, the first player going down here on day number 2, but nevertheless, they got himself a little bit of prime territory, and they've got some weapons as well, so they can take a battle. The circle itself, as we look at this one, it's, alright, there's a tiny little bit of water in there, but it's not bad in the larger scheme of things, given the fact that it's centre on the island as such that there's no water north or south.
Yeah.
That's going to swing in, and we obviously won't get any more water to the north or south. We'll only get more island as it does close in. So it's good in that fact, but it's a bit wild on where this one could swing. More than likely, given the percentage of island that is in, you would expect it to go more of a southern way, pulling down towards Gatka potentially. We're looking at the crate that's in play. That is going to be a 249 big badass gun. Andy Pyro does have his sights set on that one, and remember, no! Wobble, wobble, wobble. Vard does get tanked up, actually. It's going to be one of those shots will connect there. Elgiganten, or Electric Giant, if you want to pronounce it in English. Going to try and take out the tyres here. So, Vard, again, we saw yesterday some members from WTSG. They did overcommit. Pretty much the same scenario as well. Morocco's going to actually go back and help him out. The smoke is there. But again, if you go and try and help him out and Morocco gets in a bit of a sticky situation, they will lose potentially 2 here. But it looks like they're going to get away with it. I've already tanked up. But they do have to, unfortunately, run a gauntlet. You can see on Blank's POV now, they're set up, going to gatekeep this entire transition. We still have Alliance who need to make their way in, but that's going to be easy peasy from where they are on the top. Nobody is around the Zharki area towards North George. You've got a couple of people remaining from Redzone, just tapping away. This time around, Elgiganten are going to be the ones that unfortunately, that's going to be blood on screen as well, so some of those shots will commit. 1 kill already in the bank here for WTSG, so starting off nicely. It's only 15 points in the larger scheme. Alright, plays a part, but certainly it is position that will do the work. When else are we going to have some problems? Well, Pachinki's completely empty, but again, you generally don't see anyone going through it. You look towards more around the field area. Rogue, this could be interesting. They're crossing the bridge. They do have to deal here with Izako Boars. 2 players, though, so it's only 2, thankfully. Bullets go down. It's going to be Jazza, unfortunately, who is the victim.
These guys are great on catching rotations, and with that final spark of life, it does go down. But I've got to say, I've been so impressed with them catching people every single time, and there could be more here. Illuminating the bridge with fire. This is good from them, showing some real positional dominance. This could make it uncomfortable. Bear in mind, Rogue from day 1 did very well. This is not how you want to be starting day 2.
They've got to expect it, right? They are the Millie boys.
Yep.
They have to expect this, and that's, for instance, why Jazza went across on his own. You let him be the victim, you let him be the sacrifice, he goes off. If he's dead, fair play. All right, it's disappointing you lose 1, but you only lose 1 compared to losing all 4, which they did to Penta yesterday. Speaking of Penta, they're also on the rotation. They have to go past Izako, who's still lingering on that bridge. Rogue, they'll transition back. They're not in the blue yet, still got plenty of time on a bit of a slower side of it as well. They get the boats, maybe come in around Primorsk. If they really wanted to be ballsy, they could take the east coast, but generally speaking, the only place you're going to come in is around the yellows. If you hit the coastline, you're in all kinds of trouble because you're in very, very open territory. I'm trying to see if there's going to be major crashes here and where people may meet. It's one of those circles, because they know that it will be shrinking and because you've got about 30% water, everyone generally tries to get central as opposed to playing edge. The only ones that may do it, potentially, you might get Faze who decide, okay, we're going to be here late game, so we'll just chill. I would guess Faze has flipped his bike. Are any of his teammates around? He's sitting still, so potentially they might be able to pick him up. Yes, he does have a teammate there. We'll see Trash Dove heading down south to give him a hand there. The Wizards, they'll be going by, though, so they need to be very careful. Actually, Washout's just lingering on the edge here, so he might catch this one. If we'll see how that plays out. It's going to be Moonwolf just getting eyes on the prize here. In fact, yeah, Washout's actually heading up towards Trash Dove. I think he fancies the points. He fancies the fight here. Is he going to run him over? Has he seen him? I'm just watching the map here. He's literally... Yeah, okay, so Trash Dove's there, and he scares him off. Some bullets will have come through, and if they do at least get the player back up. All right, it's not massively a big thing to talk about too much. Chris, though, this is interesting. Now, a big hitter like Chris, who's an incredible and formidable sniper, has just picked up an MK14. He also has the 8 times on there. Now, The MK.
Ooh, this is good news for Alliance. I like this. I want early kills. I want early aggression. I think...
It's a fair few there.
Yeah, they could keep picking this up. For me, I think it's good to see... Yeah, exactly. This is
Wow.
great. Sigsies as well. This just shows that they can do this. After a questionable day one, you kind of need to get into the ebb and flow of the game. You need to start feeling it out a little bit. And for them, this could be a really nice confidence boost. Some players, some teams will respond better if they get a little quick early fight in. They start to feel out the matchup.
Let's go back to what I mentioned over Method. That's 2 crates they've got now. So same scenario as yesterday when they were on top of the hill. You've got 2 sets of level 3 vests. You've got 2 sets of level 3 helmets. You've got the M249. You've got the big bad boy weapon, one of the best in the game, up close and personal. It will completely decimate vehicles going by. And then you've got Chris, a man who is an insane sniper with the MK.
See, no, we've been
This
saying
is
this, right?
fully geared.
I love the idea of this, but I've not seen him light up that kill feed yet.
Yeah, okay.
I've not seen it
That's
in
fair.
a big event. I know what he can do. There's no taking it away from him. But I want to see him deliver on a stage like this.
I think this is really his first chance to do it, though. He's not necessarily
He's not
had
had
that
much.
team behind him, and he's not had that many lands. He was actually at Gamescom. He didn't make it through, but he's been playing since all the way since time began on this game. He's been grinding it out. Now he's got a team that I think he fits perfectly well on.
Yep.
You heard Toffee's talking about it. It's a really, really solid team. The second here on placement at the moment. Can they go further? Can they go to Berlin? They certainly think they do. They're confident, and honestly, they definitely have the ability. Look at that shrink. She doesn't go more inland. She just goes more central. So you've still got about 10 to 20% water there. This is going to be nasty. All the rotations will begin to come through, and this is where the shacks, the territory, the prime locations, the houses, any little bit of building becomes so vital. Just everyone at home keep an eye on the kill feed, because during rotation you might see bodies hitting the floor. Bullets are going to be flying, vehicles getting busted. Could be dangerous.
Hamster, not quite Overwatch, but the Copenhagen Flames had a shocking day one. Day two could be a way better performance for them. Bit of a love tap goes through. Yeah, that's not bad. Making it rain towards the cars, but he does back away. Again, you hope you maybe pick one up, because you know the team's probably not going to turn around. You've got to leave them for dead a lot of the time. So if you can get a quick kill, that's some nice points, assuming that doesn't get stolen.
It's nice to see teams going into the same compounds that they've done in previous rounds. Like yesterday, this is exactly the same place that we saw Liquid. So you know they have their all the... In fact, wow, this is the same scenario. Flames in one side, Liquid on the other, Faze at the top of the hill. We are almost identical. There was another team on top of Faze, but this is almost identical to yesterday's scenario.
Yeah, it's very similar, isn't it?
Isn't it weird out? Well, I suppose isn't it weird? You work with what you know, right, and what you practice and what you like to do.
Yeah, this could be fun. I want to see how this unfolds if it goes to a similar degree. FaZe almost got screwed over. They did somehow pick up a car or a vehicle when they came off that hill last time. They managed to actually rotate away from it.
Yeah.
But again, you're working in a very small space. I'm glad to... Ooh, Chronix gets down, Drayden switches up to that SKS. And it's not going too badly at all. The Knights are in trouble. We want to see better performance from them, maybe a bit more consistency. But that's not been the case just yet. But this is what we want to see. Chris, he's got the sniper. I love how this thing sounds. That MK just sounds beautiful. 6 times on it, that's my favorite. I love a 6 times over the 4, over the 8. I think it's got that kind of middle ground between the two. Now, that's not too surprising seeing FaZe on the kill feed, but that's a good sign for them as well. They did not get that dinner we expected yesterday.
This is Faze's second knock as well, because he fell off the bag, so he'll be bleeding extremely fast. If someone wants to walk over to him for Faze, that's just pure bait. Tap, tap, tap. Thank you very much. Kill goes the way. 15 points in the bag for Faze, but they're still chilling on top of that hill. However, depending on where this circle goes, they do have to deal with 2 teams sat at the bottom, waiting with open arms. Your last few teams making their way into the circle, north and south. You can see Atlantis on one end, and then I think that's Moonwolf and Wizards on the other.
But this, oh, hello, JT.
Hello.
That's a sexy gun. M24, if you don't know it, you will now, and very soon. 6 times on it. It's got it all. It's got everything you'd want. 7 in the chamber there as such. It's a lovely gun. Big damage coming through on it as well, and this man is very talented at using it. What I was going to say is, this is a coach's dream. If you sat there yesterday and you watched the VODs, you can now go, okay, we've got a good idea of where the issues were, we can now implement this. Now, if they've done their homework, you might see a better result from some of the teams who got caught out earlier.
The fact that you can find 6 times just everywhere now.
Show me the money.
Imagine.
GMT.
Imagine.
Go
I mean, the thing is, there's a man who can do this.
How far is that?
4, 5?
I think more 6.
It's a fair old amount.
Yeah, and especially the thing, bullet trajectory in this game is a real cruel mistress. It's very hard to work with when you're going from high ground or shooting too high ground. A lot of people get caught out by it. And track stuff here is completely visible to the Faze guys, but I don't know if they're going to be able to take the shot or go for it. It may not be worthwhile. Someone just randomly fell over and died.
I think he flipped the bike and went over on it. Yeah, he
Yep.
did.
Awkward.
Omega lull. Anyway, Larson on to Sigzip. And the finish as well. Unfortunately, the man from Huddersfield will go down. I think that's Alliance's first player in the kill feed. 73 remaining. Still all 20 up. However, that might change soon, because we do see Singularity here hiding away. One player remaining, both Wizards and Moonwolf bearing down upon him inside the crates, just to the side of old Georgie Paul. Circle moves inland, so we don't have water in now. Pretty decent. Allows a lot of teams to kind of move in rather than have to be forced in, so to speak. Faze, they can sit where they want to. Liquid a go there, central. Snack having a few tap fires at vehicles, like you kind of mentioned yesterday, more warning shots. SKS usually proving that it's worth, because you can absolutely spam the living hell out of this gun, but just look at that map. Fireworks galore.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty busy now. Faze actually in a better position than they were yesterday. Not so many teams directly kind of, I guess, in a position to third party. Last time there was a good couple.
They flipped it back again. I'll run someone over again.
God.
Back to back.
Yeah, that's not great. Method in a different spot than yesterday. They were kind of, yesterday they were roughly where WTSG are now. So I'm wondering if this works out better for them or worse. They're under a little bit of pressure. There's a lot of teams on that southern side still, because obviously the middle area here is a very open field. There are bits of terrain that you can work with, but you don't want that to be your initial position, because you can get kind of surrounded very easily. We'll see who actually takes maybe an engagement. They try and breach a compound. There's still lots of room for that in the southern side. If that circle shifts further north, for example, that might encourage it. A little bit of a potential battle on this hill, but you can occlude the other team really quite easily. So, Texas, we were talking about this man. We were kind of hyping him up. He's a great player. We didn't see too much from him yesterday. We saw him in the previous tournaments being wonderful. Really good addition to this lineup and playing that very aggressive scouting role quite well.
I think, don't quote me on this one, but I'm pretty sure he's one of the most, in terms of PUBG LAN veterans, the different forms that he's actually been to. So he knows the way of the environment, and again, sometimes jitters, nerves, you know, coming into these events. You're playing in front of a big audience, you're playing on a massive stage, and this, after, you know, we are literally one before the biggest stage in the world when it comes to PUBG, and $2 million on the line. You've got to be ready for it.
On those shots.
Jempty's
got it. This, I'm wondering if that's actually, yeah, it is. They're all firing in the same direction.
And that's a headshot.
Bloody hell, Jempty.
How? Look, where's that one? Okay,
that's
so
not that far, but it's, that's still pretty far.
That's 400. I'm looking on the map. What's that? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's 400 meters just on the edge of the circle. All right. I see ya. Final transition up north. Moonwolf, they are moving around. They'll have Wizards onto them. We've still got this potential engagement. Oh, drop right as well in front.
Lovely. Groza, threes. If you are still kind of, you haven't played PUBG in a little while, let's say you haven't, level 3's helmets are only available now at the crate, which is such a huge pickup. It means that the sniper meta is now obviously available. DMRs are back in fashion. It all comes around apparently, you know, like fashion. It's just recycled. But that should be coming back around. So that'll be quite fun to see if, you know, we see a lot of that coming through. We've already seen a couple of shots, M24s, Kar98s. Before it was the AA meta, so you'd literally pick up both. You'd never have a reason to not have it. So now it's nice seeing a little bit more polarizing situations. Now, back towards the north of the current circle, roughly towards where we are, it's going to get a little bit closer. There's a bit of an open field you have to traverse to get to the other side of things, which can make it quite tricky for some of these teams if, again, that circle shifts in a more polarizing manner. There's a lot of teams left standing. There's 20 teams still in this. So again, it's very tricky going forward here. Let's see where that circle hits. And yeah, the northern side is going to have a lot of issues here. The compounds that are still roughly inside that circle now become the gatekeepers, and it's a very tricky run. The western side is not bad. That has a little bit more cover you can play off the back of, but there's still 2-3 teams there. Liquid instantly on the move. They're
already in vehicles waiting to go, but look at Larson. He could potentially crash into this one, so he needs to be very, very careful here. Again, prime territory. Faze are also on the move. You see one, they took the Y flag, a little bit later than most. You see many people do get dinked and tagged. Liquid are quite open. They can play off this defilade. It's really, really good. And the fact that they actually have the vehicles as well, expect those vehicles to be blown up. So they've only really got one gap that they can be seen from, which would be from Alliance rather. Unfortunately, the one gap that they could get the angle on I'm seeing minis, I'm seeing 16s. The 16 itself, all right, it is an AR, but still, 6x, 4x single tap. It did get a little bit of an adjustment in batch 13, so your first shot's a lot more accurate. It can be used at range, and if you can't find a sniper or a DMI, you should always definitely have one in your back burner. We'll see. I'm actually quite surprised, to be fair, that not more people have gone down in this rotation.
Yeah, everyone's being so cautious and meticulous about this. I don't know how there's going to be that much available here. Because it's pretty much a field with a couple of hills and a couple of defiles, a couple of dips you can work when you use the cars to create a bit more cover. But you can see Fuzzface finding room to find shots through here, even just pressuring teams. It's really uncomfortable because you don't want to be taken to any fights, you don't want all the attention coming your way. Again, I'm a little worried there's not that much room. So once this circle hits in a couple of seconds, we're going to see teams struggling here.
Small note on what you mentioned earlier on, Method. They've got the 2 big boy guns, they've got a nice crate weapon, they've got 2, excuse me, they've got a sniper, and, well, DMR, and they've also got the 249 light machine gun. No kills from them so far, I don't think. I haven't seen nothing in the kill feed. If they get this next circle, though, they're going to be sitting pretty inside a hut with a 249. It's going to be a welcome wagon. Anybody turns up, they're just going to get completely battered. Chris with a grenade, though, as we're saying that, Curse of the Caster comes through. He finds Simplust.
Yeah, Method going to have to keep themselves prepared here. But Faze actually going to be catching out the Copenhagen Flames. This is not good news. Fever goes down. And yeah, this is not looking good. This is what I meant. As soon as that circle pushes towards this degree and forces teams forward, there's only so much you can work with. But you can see how much they kind of cut down this map. They look at every angle. Chris is putting that MK to work in the background, but this fight is very close by now. We saw Blank actually holding onto these compounds incredibly well. They dealt with these breaches before, but can they do it again? Spray comes in with the AK, but it's not good enough. Gets outdone, gets picked up. Jamboy is down and out. The Wizards are right at the door, and they might be unlocking this one pretty soon.
All comes down to Pybas to see what he can do. Another player hits the deck from Flames. Going to be Mexi with the tag, but Dave the Crazy with the Can 98 will steal that one. So 15 points going back to Zharki. A nice cheeky steal there. We just keep his eyes on this one. That's going to be the nail in the coffin, though. Pony Rider hits the deck. That's a bullet to the brain from Jempty. That 24 will send Flames, unfortunately, out in 19th place. That is not good from the Copenhagen Flames coming into this one when they're bottom of the table. Rather unfortunate weekend thus far. But still, everything possible. They can turn it around, but again, that's the points. Everyone else, fair enough, they're staying with there. Everyone else is getting better and better. The
problem is for them as well, mentally, you know you're getting, it's getting in your head. You've gone out first in a couple of these games now. It's not what you want to be seeing. Good positioning from FaZe. It looks like they've gone for a bit of a split here, trying to utilize position as best they can. You can still hear that M24 cracking off shots in the background. It's Liquid they're firing against, and Fuzzface still has plenty of bullets to keep this pressure up. So this bodes pretty poorly for the other teams in the fields because these guys, they're eyeing this one up. Let's see that next circle. It's about a hit, and again, we saw the couple of teams getting real pressure, losing out on players. It's Eastern. Liquid and FaZe still pretty close by. We have WTSG in a good spot here. Rogue, not bad spot. The teams on the outskirts towards the south and the west, and a little bit of the north too, are in a real tricky position. This rotation, this movement, is going to be tough, but this 2-2 split will pay off very nicely. You can see FaZe now able to put their car into a good spot. Maybe try and find that right terrain that works for them. The smallest dips and defilates, you can tuck yourself behind and try and work off the back of it.
It's the roadside. You see the roadsides, they're just going to be able to kind of move off the back of them. The terrain on the sides of the roads, 90% of the time, as you can see on Pybas's POV, they do have a little bit of a ditch, so you can kind of play off the back of them, bank towards it. Grow up, they know they need to move. The circle is against them. But at this point, like, you need to scrape the bottom of the barrel here. It's going to be so rough. Teams are actually going to have to fight for position. You're going to have to take fights. You're going to have to hit people hard and remove that position from them and just get yourself seated. Interesting to see how Method play this one. They're going to be coming in late, and they're going to have to go down the firing line of about 3 teams, which could be rather unfortunate. Chris, though, now gets the knock. We're seeing the sniper do its job.
This is good from Chris. I asked to see more from him, and he's delivering. That's 2 knocks at the minimum now. And he's got a big boy gun as well, so let's see what he can do with that, because I know Andy's got fans. I mean, it's hard to ignore. So the guy does pretty well for himself, and he proves it on these stages. He's one of the mechanically best players, I'd still say, out there. Whether or not that's going to translate into this game, we're yet to see. They have to traverse their way forward through a lot of teams, so they don't have an easy run going in front of them, but a couple of kills being picked up. We're down to 17 teams now.
Keep your eyes on it. Smoking this one through.
Ooh.
Method, 3K. All 4 players alive though, but it's same for an awful lot of...
They're in the circle here too. I don't know if they can get the rest up there. Groza, it's the threes again. Do
you know what's pretty cool? The fact that this box, rather than actually being just the gear, it's give them some actual cover. They can lay down behind this one, play off the slight bank of the terrain here, lay against the edge of the circle. But that's now got to be 3 players on Method, level 3'd up.
And you've got M249, you've got the MK14, and now you have a Groza 2, obviously. Really nice. Wizards being confirmed, they are eliminated. Not the best of games for them just yet. They're still struggling to get their footing in here. Knights actually could be challenging towards Method. This could be a real issue, but Alliance in the fight as well. Good angle coming from Faze. Could be locking that one out. And does he find any more? There is still a player there. I think he was shooting a couple of shots towards it, but it's very hard to see, obviously. When you're this close up, when you're within the 200 meters roughly, the grass is still rendered. So it's very tricky to see that, and that's a big open field he's trying to run through.
Another member, unfortunately for Rogue, has hit the deck. Everyone just going a little bit quiet, laying down. The Knights, though, Itzy. Grenade comes through, they find the target. Rather unfortunate here for Method. They might have all the gear in the world, but it's not going their way. Larson on the kill feed. Andy Pyro knocked as well by Texas. That mini at range doing its job.
WTSG are joining on the fight. Method are pinned. Yeah, this is horrible news for Method. They got fire everywhere. Texas is pushing this. Can we get on board with him? I'd love to see what angle he's working for, because look at the nades coming out as well.
2 for 1.
That is perfection, and we need to see his perspective here, because look at it. They're raining it in. There's 1 man left alive currently. That's Moleman. And yeah, there's the confirmed kills coming through. The rain of nades is hurting. Chris is going to be down as well. Texas creeps his way forward. Moleman on the other side, probably sweating bullets behind the box. They could probably read this. It's not going to be too surprising. Kramer may not be too aware. Now he is. Shot to the side. You're not going to get away from that one, and Kramer gets it done. This is a lovely upgrade as well. We knew what Method had. They had 3 players upgraded, 2 threes with the weaponry, and they are eliminated. Great moves from Knights, confident, assertive, aggressive. They take it, and they get the third-party assistance from WTSG. There was no safe angles for Method.
15th place with 3 crates. I mean, 1, it's surprising, but 2, it goes to show that gear isn't necessarily always what it seems to be. Position on this map is absolutely key as more bodies are going down. Left, right, center. Samty, he's down as well. Fake, it's taken out by Fuzzface. Gaxi onto Runstamar. VZ, he goes down. Elgiganten get one back. Samty's dead. See you later, my friend. Same for Hexete. And now Kramer again. The Knights, though.
Who's got the circle here? Let's take a look at the circle.
I think Knights are looking quite good because they're just banking on the edge.
Yeah, they're good. They've got real estate.
Do you think the bigger one is the fight down towards the south? Redzone and Penta. I mean, that's going to be what, the only compound left in the game?
But you can tell the teams who really want the, I guess, the best ground available. You've got Faze, you've got WTSG, and you've got Liquid all vying for that same small area. So they might just kind of live in the fact that they're next to each other. But here come the shots on the rotation. They're just going to get on the back. The bikes and run. Penta on the move. This is going to be very tough for them. One shot here. If one of them gets tagged on the way through, you're going down. But the rest of the teams now need to know they've got to get moving. As much as you can catch teams in the heels, there's always that balance of timing. Do we take the fight? Do we run? Do we try and get into the circle? What do we do here? And they took the fight. They decided they're going to wait it out a little bit longer. They're still relatively safe in this position to a degree as well. And they've kind of fought off everyone in the south. They've forced them to move. Now I want to look at this kind of Liquid, WTSG, Faze situation, because they could crunch on this, because Faze aren't fully in this just yet either.
James is just teetering on the edge, but Fuzzface is going to sit back. And that's simply so he can be kind of the emergency, the insurance. If Jemsy does die, he can arrive late on, maybe go elsewhere. VZ will probably die to the zone. There's 2 players actually knocked from, unless VZ's actually getting picked up. Now his teammate will leave him, I'm thinking. So Alliance, they'll be holding on for dear life, saying that. Fuzzface.
Let's go on board with Gemty. Let's go on board with Fuzzface. Someone. Let's actually watch this fight unfold. I want to see how close they are to the action, because the third party could come in and actually screw over WTSG. I want to see this one first person if we can. Gemty's hit the deck. He knows there's trouble. Liquid on the push as well in the back lines. They could be the unraveling of so many teams here. I'm hoping we can see this, because currently Fuzzface is going to be getting to the action. Yep, there's James doing it. There's the third party that I just spoke about. Hopefully we can see this from maybe one of the teams taking the engagement. There's Kramer coming in. Knights now joining in the background. WTSG are just getting screwed from everywhere. There's nowhere safe. Fuzzface, he doesn't see him. He was maybe mid-reload there, and Gaxy's still alive. Putting Faze through the ringer. We're down to 11 teams. Larson hitting the floor, trying to stay alive. Gaxy holding on here as well. They lost 2, and Liquid have taken the hill. They took the assertive play, and I like that. They heard the fight beginning. They waited, they prepared, and they took it. They took the fight really well. And they had to, because look at that next circle. They have to keep moving. There's no sitting back there.
They pushed at the perfect time. As soon as they heard this fight kick off between Faze and WTSG, they said, all right, boys, let's get involved. They picked up 2. A rather unfortunate reload for Fuzzface. Catches him with his pants down. He's dead. We've only got one member of Faze remaining. The circle, it goes downtown. Could this be Redzone's game? They've had a bit of a rough start to this weekend. This should be theirs.
Look at that little lip they get to play from as well.
They've got all the room in the world.
Of that, they're in such a sick spot. They're watching the flanks. They're not being, you know, hap-handed. They're not leaving it up in the air. They're being smart about this. I really like the way Redzone are playing. Gemty finds Gaxi. Gaxi gone. He's moving. He's on the run now. Faze need to pick up the pace here. There's not much left of them either. Keep in mind, Savage not living up to the name. Fuffins, not so assertive in name, but in nature apparently so. Rogue's starting to light up the kill feed. This is their moment to try and push forward, but they're surrounded. You've got Alliance members here. You've got Grotney. You've got the Knights. Liquid, though, just about staying in this. The UMP coming through with the goods, but can you get the revive? Do you have time? The Blue's on your back, and you've already lost out on Scoom. Larson could be a bit of a spoiler here, but there's a Penta player waiting. There's so many people everywhere. Larson, if he spots this, he could take out the entirety of Liquid. Or, if he keeps running, he could just try and work his way in, but that's it. Faze are down, they're done. Ibiza has gone down to the zone in the end. Jeems is your only man alive. He's had to have left Scoom, and he's trying to play the circle timing right now.
I'd have hoped his teammate would have thrown him the helmet on the floor, which he does. So his teammate giving the helmet gives him that really nice bit of utility. They can keep moving forward. Oh,
this is such scary timing. You don't want to be too early, you don't want to be too late. It's such a tough way to balance it out. Jeems, he has that UMP, but oh, that's a shot. Look at the range he's playing on.
Jesus.
Oh, Jeems, that's sick play from him. Knocks one, confirms the kill on the other. Job done. He is racking up points for his team, and he kind of locks down that side a little for himself. So if you're watching this, you're happy that Jeems is there, but tagged up from the side, it will be Redzone from the back line denying Liquid.
By staying alive from that long, he's just jumped his team 3 places. That's insane. Just been able to stay alive, get a couple of kills off the back, get involved in these fights. Incredible stuff. You see the 9mm, the Uzi up close and personal if somebody does want to get aggressive here.
You're laughing with this.
Look at that.
You are laughing. This is your dream come true.
All 4 players alive, but they're already pushing out, Lauren. They want to keep a hold of this.
Nasty
they just want to play defensive. Everyone has to come to them now. Look at Gavran's POV. He's moving all the way out on the left-hand flank. Well, you can, but more importantly, you can just be this information. You can just be feeding it back.
That's exactly it. You are the early warning system.
Look at that. That is such a bodybuilder position.
Filthy. You're literally playing the angle. You're waiting on that blue to move up, and you're holding it. Because even if you die, the information is relayed to your team. Ideally, you get 1 for 1. You get maybe a trade out. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. This is the waiting game. They're waiting for the other teams to run. No one wants to be the first to go. Because if you're the first to go, you're probably the first to die. But then again, do we rather die to the blue? You can deny points from that aspect. This becomes, all right, let's be real. Let's not fluff this one. Redzone should have this every day of the week unless someone does something unbearably good. Voxic, there you go. Run the gauntlet, buddy. Serpentine like a champion as much as you want. Hit the deck. Try and do what you can. You have made it pretty far. Now in the back lines, the rest of Penta get the fight going. This is good, but Redzone's still there from afar, doing damage, racking up kills, getting the bodies, getting the points. And that's important here. We're down to 3 teams. Make it 2. We know the one man proned away, which is the Penta boy, just bleeding to the zone. It's time to go. It is going to be Redzone with a win. And the positioning was perfect.
Fantastic work from Redzone. They spread out. They made sure, okay, if we're going to be gifted this circle, let's make sure we do not blow it. Now, the bigger picture throughout that game is the fact that the teams that had a little bit of a rough start coming into day number 1, there's a few of them up that leaderboard, a couple of your big names. All right, I've got to give it to Jeems, staying alive, at least jumped in 3 positions. But some of the other teams, they went down quite early. I think this could really shake up the leaderboard. Yeah,
and I'm sure the desk will be able to speak to that and how this kind of may affect that leaderboard. Guys, what did you think of that first game of today?
Quite the story to say. At least as Redzone seems to be the full counter to the blue zone here, and they get gifted the circle. But with that, they are also taking the game in strong fashion to start off day number 2. So a big game from them to get things going, with the 7 kills being racked up. Zealous being their MVP there with the 5 kills in the very end. And they're right, their estimations are right. That is going to shake up the leaderboards just a little bit, especially when you had teams like Team Blank, who's currently in